All right, everybody, let's jump into this video. Today we're going to be talking about demand. So the little question that I posed is, what are you going to do with your life today? At some point, you are going to involve the principles of demand. Demand is something that we do every single day. There is no hiding. There is no getting away from it. We are all active members in the economy in demand. We spend majority of our time in a demand capacity. So let's talk about what demand is. Demand is whenever we buy things every day. But there are two requirements that you need to remember when you're dealing with demand. You have to be willing to buy it, meaning you have the desire to want it. You want something, you have to want it. That's requirement number one. Requirement number two, you have to have the ability to pay for it. I can say I want a Bentley every day of my life. At this present moment, I don't count for the demand because I can't afford it. All right. So if you can't afford it, but you want it, you still don't account for demand. Demand is you have to A, want it, and B, afford it. Okay. Demand is being a customer or a consumer, an eligible consumer. That is the requirement for demand. One thing that you want to keep in mind with demand is as price goes down, the quantity that you demand was going to go up. It has an inverse relationship. Inverse meaning they do not like each other. They have the opposites. The opposite is attract. All right. In this particular case, the opposite remains true. If the price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. But let's look at this. Don't just take my word for it. Let's kind of understand it. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a watch, right? And you have $100 in your pocket to purchase a watch. The watch that you like costs $90. Well, if we go back to the original plan, you have the ability and the desire to purchase that watch, so you fit into the demand. But you can afford one watch because you only have 100 and it costs $90. But let's just say you luck up that day and you go into the store and that watch is on sale and it's 2 for 100. The price has gone down and the quantity that you demand goes up. So now instead of buying one watch, you're actually buying two. That should kind of ring some bells because the more you can afford of something that you like, the more you're willing to purchase. When we talk about demand schedules, we're going to go back to a little bit of math, and this is the part that scares people when it comes to economics, but it's really easy. Okay? We talked about the PPC already with the graphing table. Just like with that graphing table for the production possibilities curve, there is a demand schedule. The individual lists the quantity of a product that a person would be willing to buy at each price point. Okay? So Travis would be concerned, using that example from the production possibilities curve from the previous video, would be concerned with an individual demand schedule. When we're talking about a market demand schedule, the table that lists the quantity of an entire market will buy at a given price point. That's everyone. So if we're looking at individual, we're looking at you and your personal finances. When we're looking at a market demand, we're looking at people like you at large. Maybe perhaps people at your school buying spirit wear or buying the Nikes that are coming out or buying the Jordans that are being released. They're geared towards a particular market. So just like with the production possibilities curve, we have a demand schedule. What I would like for you to do at this very moment is I'd like for you to pause the video and actually graph this out. I would like for you to take a sheet of paper and graph it out. Just go ahead and practice. Okay, so you should be back by now, and welcome back. So now let's take a look at this. So what this graph is really saying is for $8.75, you are willing to buy 3 masks per week. But at $2, you are willing to purchase $12. So what do you think your graph would look like? Again, this was kind of like what we did in the previous video with the production possibilities curve, except You want to make sure that you have your demand curve here. Remember, price is always, always, always here. Always on the vertical, quantity demanded is always on the horizontal. I don't want you to forget that. That's really important. Okay. So with that being said, your demand curve should start in the top left and go down to the bottom right. Top left, bottom right. Your demand curve should always look like this. Top left, bottom right. Okay? As long as the price is on the vertical and quantity is on the horizontal, you shouldn't have a problem graphing your demand curve. Elasticity of demand. If it's elastic, people are responsive and react to the price change. So an example of this would be clothes, shoes, etc. Wants or luxuries. These are things that you would go buy, but depending on the price, you may say, "Oh, I'm not paying that for that. I'll wait till it goes on sale." Inelastic are things that people would still buy regardless of price change, like fuel, gas, light bills, cell phone in some particular cases. Regardless of the price, you're going to be more willing and more apt to purchase those products. So when we talk about elasticity, basically elastic talks about wants or luxuries, whereas inelastic is more of requirements or necessities. Okay, that's what it really boils down to. All right, stay tuned. We're going to have a few more videos coming for you, but we kind of grazed over the concept of demand and elasticity. Graphing demand should be easy. So take some time and practice graphing your demand curves.